Perfect. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to this final last webinar of the Bonesize project for the first open call dedicated to AI talents. And well, today it will be more interactive session than the previous ones. So Miguel de Prado, who is the senior researcher in the Bonesize Association, and me, Izabela Zrazinska, and I'm the senior project manager at Funding Box, and I'm managing the open call in the Bonesize project. We will try to answer the most pending questions of you, and also well, those that you will ask during the webinar. So let me jump to the next slide. So yes, I'm not sure how many of you already know Bonesize, so we'll try to make it short, just in case we have some people that it's the first time that you get to know Bonesize. So just in short, the introduction and the context, and also about the first open call. But the main part of the session will be in the top Q&A solved, how we called it here. So we have selected, the open call is working, well, is open since September. So we have gathered top 6 questions that applicants asked us during that period, and we'll answer them. Okay, so I believe this will be a nice way to get on top of the documents that you have read, and also to see what's to solve your doubts. After each, let's call it question and answer slot, we'll try to make a short Q&A in case for 1 or 2 questions. So you can already write them during our presentations in the questions in the chat box. Okay, and Laura, who is with us from the technical side, she will ask them to us, to the speakers, during the session. But of course, we'll have a big Q&A, let's say, at the end of today's webinar. Okay, so we will try to solve your doubts during the presentation, but we'll also have the dedicated Q&A slot at the end. And we'll also have some slides, some presentation on how to write the winning proposal. I will tell you a bit more about the evaluation criteria. So maybe if you are already in the process of writing the proposal, that might also help you. Okay, so that's the word of introduction. So let's start from the introduction of the project. As I mentioned, for those of you that might have never heard about Bonesize. So the mission, in very short, is to create the AI as a service for the deep edge marketplace called Bonesize Marketplace. So the project is, so the creation of this platform is being developed since 2017 in the previous project. And now in the second phase, the goal is actually to create the multi-party collaboration for this platform by engaging the researchers, the AI talents, and also the end users, which are SMEs. So now the goal will be to create the modular services on this platform that will be accessible for the low-tech SMEs, okay, that have this barrier to access and to adopt the AI in their processes. So at the end, we'll help SMEs to digitalize, okay, by allowing them to implement AI into their processes. So this is a general vision. Then getting more into the points. So this multi-party collaboration that will be created in Bonesize on the Bonesize marketplace will be done through the 2 open calls. So we'll select the AI talents that will work on the development of the AI solutions. And we'll also next year we'll launch the open call for the low-tech SMEs. So these are those that actually will define the challenges, and we'll try also to approach and improve the platform from this AI demand side. So today we'll focus on the first open call, which, as you know, will end up soon, less than 2 weeks left on the 2nd of November. And this open call is dedicated to the AI talents. And in a nutshell, how it will look like. So basically, we're looking for the experts to train the AI models. So we will have, or we'll evaluate the skills of the AI talents or the applicants. So basically the data science and AI development skills that are needed to actually execute the development and the integration of the AI solutions. As you know, we have 10 industry challenges that are predefined, okay, in the automotive, manufacturing, healthcare, and robotics sectors. And those solutions, they include already established rules and information about the data sets, evaluation, and the final outcome that should be reached. So you can also check them in the guide for applicants, but each applicant has to select at least one in one application. And then, of course, we aim to boost the use of the Bonesize marketplace. So you should also use you also receive the assistance in using the Bonesize marketplace. The user support framework will be launched at the beginning of the support program with the features like AI research or AI challenges. So that is something that we'll also mention today. And the benefits, it's the funding for 70,000 euro for developing the AI solution, from which you have to dedicate 10,000 for contracting the HPC cloud infrastructure. And the winners, the 30 winners, will enter the 5-month support program, where the Bonesize team will provide you the support. We will also organize the certified courses, massive open courses, after which you will get the certification. And also in the last stage of the program, we'll also provide the business support to the 10 most promising AI talents. And here is the application website. So this is something you probably already have checked. In order to apply, very easy, you have to register to Funding Box to open the application. And then also you should read the guide for applicants and frequently asked questions. These are like the most important documents to start from. And yeah, don't forget to do that by 2nd November. So that is in the word of the introduction. And now we will pass to this top questions and answers. Okay, so the first one is related to the Bonesize platform. So indeed, we have received a lot of questions about like what is the current state of art, what is the current status, sorry, of the platform, and also how it will be used. Okay, so that's why the first question will go to Miguel, who is responsible for that part. So Miguel, I'm passing voice to you to tell our participants a bit more about this point and this doubt.
Thank you, Isabella. So the Bonesize platform will become available over time. So I will explain first of all a bit the introduction of Bonesize on the platform, and then I will explain what we have available at the moment and what will be available over time and also during the period of the support program. So in general, a bit of the background of the project and what we want to do. So Bonesize is a service layer that is a continuation of the previous Bonesize project. And basically, we want to make available different tools and services that were created so that people and users from the companies and also from academia can use it and basically benefit from it. So we offered like services such as experimentation for training, also model compression to be able to deploy more efficiently, benchmarking to know if your AI application is performing accordingly to the specifications, and also the deployment on hardware. We have a variety of different platforms, and also we are adding the security needed to make this process more secure, basically. And we want this process to be available for companies, SMEs, to basically leverage like these services or the knowledge that wouldn't be available for them alone. So that yes, we collaborate in a way to make this possible. So next, please. And by collaboration, what I mean is that basically in our Bonesize marketplace, we want to connect different actors or entities. For example, we want to connect the academia, the researchers that are publishing papers and have the knowledge about the experimentation, with the corporates like SMEs or startups. And by allowing this collaboration, basically we'll be able to solve some challenges that alone is very difficult. And it's very difficult because to be able to create and deploy AI solutions, we need a lot of data to train the models, and we need a lot of knowledge and expertise to be able to train those models in the right direction, and also to deploy them on a specific embedded devices that are very low power, and you need to optimize these models a lot, and that's a complicated process. So basically, we allowed this collaboration at different stages that I will explain next for different verticals. We have a healthcare, automotive, manufacturing, and robotics. And basically, by connecting these different actors, we will be able to solve these challenges in the first open call. Next, please. So here we have an example of the different actors that we have in the Bonesize platform. So we can start from the innovator. So the innovator is someone from a company, for example, that would like to solve an issue or to implement a new tool using AI. And in this case, this innovator is going to write down a challenge. And by challenge, I mean there's some kind of file where you write the specifications of what you would like to achieve during this process. So, for example, there are challenges for automotive, where you want to make sure that the driver is looking ahead to the road, is having the hands on the wheel. Or, for example, there are other challenges that for healthcare, we want to detect the heart rate and just be sure that the patient is not having a heart attack, for example. There are the use cases for, in this case, for manufacturing, to detect if there is some defect in the chain. So there are many different challenges that we are offering at the moment, 10 of them. And then basically during this challenge proposal, the innovator is going to write the specifications and where it needs to run, in what platform, if it needs to have a certain amount of throughput of frames per second. And so everything gets written in this step. So once this is written, it's pushed to the Bonesize marketplace, and it can be taken by the data scientist. A data scientist is someone that has the knowledge or the expertise to train a model, and it's going to deliver an AI asset. So an AI asset is this training environment that is going to be placed into a container, and also a first evaluation of the model, the trained model on a platform. And this container is going to be pushed to the marketplace, so also can be reproduced for example, by the innovator, or also by any other user that would like to try out this specific challenge and see if it meets the specifications that were assigned to it. Finally, once the AI asset is published, we could go forward and create an AI application. So an AI application is a bit more of optimized code to deploy the AI asset, in this case the application, in an embedded device. So the embedded devices usually are a bit more limited in terms of power consumption, computation, and memory. So we really need to optimize this AI application in a way that it's able to meet the requirements that were specified by the innovator. And we could stop here at this point by having an application that solves the challenge, or we can go a bit further to create an AI solution. So in this case, the AI solution is going to be a bit more complex system that takes several AI applications and tries to combine them to create a more serious problem. In this case, we have some examples already about in-cabin driver monitoring systems for automotive, where we are trying to detect several applications. We are using several applications to detect several features at the same time. For example, as I said before, if we are looking at the road, we are not distracted. If we are smoking, or if we are having our two hands on the wheel. Also, we can say if we are a bit tired, if maybe the people are yawning a little bit. So all this happen at the same time, and for that we need a more complex system. In this case, it is the integrator that is in charge of that. And basically, this is a bit more modular system. We can go from one point to the other by pushing the challenge, the asset and the application and solution to the marketplace. And from there, anyone else that wants to participate or collaborate in the design can basically start programming or start developing the solution that it was provided. Next, please. And this is basically the same use case that I was explaining now, but from a different perspective. So in this case, we have the perspective of the research. So instead of an innovator publishing the challenge, in this case, we see that there is a lot of research that is done in academia that ends up in a box, basically that is not used anymore by any user because it's difficult to reproduce. So the idea here is to containerize this knowledge, this experimentation into an AI asset, and then reproduce this or be able to reproduce this experimentation in a way that it can turn into something more meaningful. So the idea that here is that we put the data that was collected by the research, and we put a model training environment and the optimization and some benchmarking on high-end platforms like Jetson Xavier or the NVIDIA's platforms, or also the Raspberry Pis. So we can get some feedback of the metrics just to know if we are going in the right direction. And the idea is that this process is not it doesn't converge easily. So usually it needs some forth and back iterations to be able to match the specification. So by having this workflow in a container and basically having some APIs for a smooth transition between the different steps, we are able to smoothly iterate over these different data collection, training, optimization, and benchmarking, and basically have an AI asset that is meaningful in the end and can be also used by any other user that wants to access the marketplace. Next, please. And this is the actual marketplace. So here we have different verticals. So in one vertical we have challenges, and here we already published 5 of them. We also have a few other ones that will be published during the next days. And these ones are basically the ones that are proposed already in the open call. So you can already know which ones are them by accessing Funding Box webpage. We also have AI research. Here we have connected to a lot of papers that has been published, also data sets and also models. And here, if you look at the video that we did last week or 10 days ago, then you can have a demo of what it's available already in the marketplace, and you can navigate and search for these papers and have some tables where basically you have the accuracy and the latency of these papers, and you can see which one is the state of the art at the moment. We also have platforms like we have a variety of platforms like ARM, Intel, NVIDIA, and AI applications about different use cases, for example, detections, classification, recognition, authentication, etc. And finally, we also have some AI solutions like the one I was explaining before, like the driver and occupant monitoring system. And the idea is that we will do an open door week starting from next Monday, and we will give you access. I will post the Bonesize Marketplace webpage, and you can register basically on this marketplace and basically navigate and check out yourself what is available at the moment in the marketplace. Not everything is available. We have the content, but we are still working on the support to be able to push all this information. And basically it will come over time, and by the time that the AI talents start the support program, we'll have most of the content already ready to be used by these AI talents. So that's all from my side.
Perfect, thank you, Miguel. Laura, I mean, if you allow, because I see some questions, so I mean, I can moderate them for this part, because I see not all of them are related directly to Bonesize Marketplace status, but we can maybe use the opportunity to ask 2 questions, more technical ones, as you are now. It's your turn now. We're going to present. So the first one is related to the keyword spotting challenge. So what is expected from the AI talents exactly? And here the explanation, I mean, are they supposed to develop the KWS algorithm, which has an accuracy of over 90%? There were reference algorithms and data in the document, and deploy the algorithm on edge devices such as RB4 or NVIDIA Jetson Nano. So
yes, so maybe if you could go back to the slide where we have the figure of the AI asset. So this one, or the next one, is good. So this one, for example, so the idea is that exactly the AI talents during the support program need to develop an algorithm for keyword spotting. And we have put already some references of some papers that were developing some neural networks for this. And the AI talent can take these papers as reference and then do their own architecture or improve it in any way they want. And it will be some optimization. So we are focusing on having quantization. So we want the models to be quantized to 8-bit. And then we will provide in the environment some platforms like the Raspberry Pi or the Jetson, so you can basically benchmark the application on these platforms and get some feeling of the metrics of this AI application. That will be done during the first stage. During the second stage, it will be most towards creating an AI application. So in this case, we will try to make accessible some tools so you can optimize or you can integrate basically this AI application into our inference framework so that we can deploy on low power platforms like the GAP8, which is based on RISC-V processors, or also the ST microcontroller platform. That's a microcontroller, basically it's a more low power platform.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Maybe another one that from those that are currently asked is also referred to more technical side. Is related that if the use of the AI model architecture reference in the documents for each challenge is totally closed, or is it possible to use other model?
No, we just give a reference so people understand what's our vision of what we want to do, but we are open to other architectures as well. There is something to bear in mind, is that in the end, as I said just now, we want these models to be supported by our own inference engine. And we are aware that some operators might not be supported because there's new operators that come out every now and then. And basically supporting these operators takes some time. And we will need to match basically our support operators with those that will be introduced in your architectures. So at some point, once you're selected, you can experiment as much as you want, but at some point we need to match that, we need to make sure that the architecture that you are developing, it will be supported by us. So at some point, there is some limitations, but we are open to try new architectures.
Perfect, thank you. And maybe the last one, so we can also continue to cover other topics, but I think it's interesting. Is there any cheat sheet or tutorial about the step for deploying a model on the Bonesize developer platform from scratch?
Yes, at the beginning of the support program, we will also make available sort of a course, online course, where we will explain, or someone will explain the process of setting up an embedded board and also running an AI asset on this board. So we have 2 AI assets that we are gonna open for example, as an example. And basically we give this course to make sure that everyone understands how to deploy the AI assets on the embedded boards. So there will be documentation, there will be a video, and there will be basically everything that's needed to develop this stage.
Okay, perfect. So I think this is this is from these technical questions. I see one related to the, well, maybe we can ask that, but I think my presentation will also cover this. It's about the data sets, if they will be provided to AI talents. So I'm not sure, Miguel, if you can tell a bit more about the data sets.
So Here there's been some questions in the last webinars. So we are providing also reference data sets that are public, and the evaluation of these models at the end of, or in the middle of the process, where we have between the two stages, there will be some evaluation, and also at the end, this evaluation will be on these public data sets. So we make sure that everyone can access the support program and be able to train a model. However, if you have some data yourself that is private, or you have it on your own, then you can use it. So as much data as you have is welcome, and but basically the evaluation will be on a public data set. That's maybe just to make sure that everyone understands that.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Miguel, for that round of questions. I believe it clarifies a lot, and also just to tell everyone that, well, we are gathering also these questions, and we always, all the questions from all the webinars are updated in frequently asked questions document. So also we'll write it down for the further use of also those that couldn't join us. And also going from the data sets, I have also prepared, so there was another question that we received a lot, and is actually related to the data sets. It's about how the intellectual property will be managed. And here, as the continuation of what Miguel mentioned, I just wanted to underline that yes, initially, or the most of the data sets will be public, so they are non-commercial data. But it is important to remember, and this is how it is described in our guide for applicants, that the license terms of the resulting AI models, so of the outcome of the program that you will enter to, will be the subject to the status of the data being used to train the AI model. Okay, so if the data will be commercial, then let me just jump. If the data will be commercial, then you should be at least granted rights to reuse and commercialize them, okay, in the next or other products and for the platform. And also, if you will need to buy those, well, the license to access those data, this will be eligible costs so you can use the grant that you receive 70,000 euro to access or to get the commercial rights for this data. But the priority will be for the non-commercial data. And so here, as Miguel mentioned, there will be a source code repository for the user support framework that will be the initial source code for the AI assets. Okay, so coming back to my first point, this is important, okay, to take into account and to remember, because some of you asked us. And also the important point that the solutions developed for the projects will be open source. So this is also another important point to take into account when talking about the IP. So that is for the IP. I'm not sure if there are no further questions in the chat. No, for this one. So the next popular question was, and actually also one of your questions included that point, if you can submit the proposal with an industry challenge, or like if you can actually, or a solution defined by you. And it is important that we indeed have these 10 solutions. And as Miguel mentioned, there are some AI models or some ideas how we see that it should be developed, how Bonesize team thinks it should be developed. And it is limited to these 10 challenges. Okay, so we have received some questions if there are some other solutions that can be submitted with another challenges, which we are very happy to see that the interest. But here we are limited to these 10 challenges that will be developed, that you will work on. And if you are interested to suggest the challenge and none of these are in your interest, then the second open call that we'll launch next year will be a little bit more open, because that is when we'll look for the low-tech SMEs that will actually define those. So that is when, if you have the end user or the SME that you think could have some interesting challenge that your solution can solve, then that SME can apply, and you can actually then bring your solution and your challenge to the Bonesize. But for now, we are quite limited with these 10 solutions. And also I saw the question if you have to bring the industry end user or to the call, or I understand today a solution, or if it's dedicated to any specific end user. And the answer also is no. Of course, there's no end user defined. Of course, these challenges were created with the collaboration with the industry players. So we had the industrial workshop back in this year, and actually the industrial leaders helped us to define and also the criteria for these challenges. But we do not have the end user that will adopt this specifically. If it comes about coming with the end user, there is a section in the application form where you can describe if you know any end users that would be interested in such a challenge. And that is actually a big plus. If you have any contacts or idea on how the AI solution that you will develop could be actually connected with the market and with the potential end user, that is a strong point. Okay, on the commercialization, it's in the impact section of the application form. So also we invite you to have a look on that. And also on the description of the challenge. Here I just wanted to bring it's copy paste from the guide for applicants, because sometimes I think that maybe not everyone are aware about that, because it's important to, when selecting the change, to actually read those expected results, data sets, and review well the materials. And yeah, that's for this question that we have received. I still see no more questions, right, related to that. Just let me have a look. Okay. Yes, then we had a question about the milestones evaluation. I will try to bring it also with the next questions. But first, also another one that is related to part of the support program. You remember I mentioned that from this 70,000 euro, you have to dedicate 10,000 to contracting the HPC cloud infrastructure services. Okay, and sometimes people ask us, is this the part of the Bonesize marketplace or not, and how will it work? So just in the word of introduction, so this will work as a voucher. Okay, so from the funding that AI Talents will receive, you have to dedicate 10,000 to pay the services. Okay, the amount is paid per month. Okay, so it's 2,000 euro per month. So as the program has 5 months, it's 10,000 in total. And the Bonesize team will provide you the list of the external HPC cloud providers that will be validated by us. Okay, so we'll check if they fulfill the minimum technical requirements. Okay, so now we are also recruiting them, and those will be ready, okay, for when the support program starts. So that is when you'll be able to select and sign the contract directly with the provider. So you have to sign the service like the same way as you would ask them directly for, and you have to pay them directly from the grant that you receive from the Bonesize project. Okay, so this is also an interesting point that that wasn't that clear, I think. Okay. Then the next question is how you can use the grant that you will receive. Okay, so what is important is that well, those costs, those 70,000 has to be dedicated to anything or any cost that will occur during that 5 months. Okay, and that they correspond to the execution of the project. Okay, so if you're a company, then probably, well, to paying the salaries of the team members, right? This is usually one of the biggest costs. Also for the travels. So, for instance, as you know, in the second month of the support program, there will be hackathon, probably in Italy. So also you can cover the travel costs from the grant. Also purchasing goods or services. So HPC cloud infrastructure is the obligatory one, the 10,000 that is dedicated for that, but also, for instance, the commercial data sets that we already mentioned. And also, well, the rule is that the main tasks and work has to be done by the selected AI talents, but in case you need to subcontract any actions, then you can also do that, but only 50% of the total cost. So only very small amount of the tasks can be subcontracted. And for the budget, you will see that once you get accepted to the support program, one of the first steps is to create the individual use case plan. That will be done at the beginning of support program, and that is where the detailed budget should be included. Okay, so that is when you will sit with the Bonesize team and also help you to detail that costs, and also with the technical team. So you also plan the development of the AI solution, the KPIs, and the goals that you want to achieve. And that is actually what will be also related to the payments. Okay, so basically you will agree with the Bonesize team on the deliverables and the goals that you want to achieve during the program, and there will be 3 gates or milestone reviews. So 3 points when we'll review and the payments, your performance and the payments will be made. Okay, so the first milestone will be creation of the individual use case plan. So this will be at the very beginning. When the plan is approved, you receive the first 10,000 euro. Then at the end of the stage 1, you will review again your deliverables and your performance. And if it gets approved, then you get the next tranche of the money, the 80,000. And then another review will be at the end of the support program and the end of stage 2. That is where we'll once again review your progress, and well, you will receive the rest of the money. Okay, so this is included here in the table, also in the frequently asked questions, this payment schedule. But it's important to know, if it's your first time applying to the European funded programs, that usually the money is not paid all at once, but there are these milestones that allow that are paid, that allow us to evaluate your progress, and the payments are against the specific milestones. Okay. I see some questions in the chat. I'm not sure, Laura, is there anything that you would like to ask? I see a question.
We have 3 questions. Okay. So the first one would be, are you expecting us to declare the financial plan, how the budget will be used during the application?
No, there is no such a section in the application. Okay, sometimes in some programs this is already required. So here, no, we do not require the detailed explanation for that part. But I wanted to tell it already that it will be when you get selected. Okay, so that's why, and also to set up the expectations, right? That what the grant can be used for. So at the application stage, no, it is not required.
Okay, thank you. We have another question regarding submission. So our participant asked, in case there is a problem with the submission, I would like to do a submission 1 day before the deadline. In that case, the multiple submissions, the last one would be valid, right?
Yes. Yes. If you do the multiple submission, then you have different application forms, right? So the first point, maybe just to not complicate, once you submit the application, you can edit it until the deadline. Okay, so it is actually a good practice what you plan to. If everything is ready, I always recommend to submit it, and then you can always, maybe if you want to tune up or improve some details, then you can do it, because that way, you are 100% sure that that this final version will be submitted. But if you want to edit that, you can do it until the deadline. Okay, so that's the answer. So it can be edited until the deadline, even if submitted. Okay. And for the multiple submission, Sorry, because actually that's my next point. So maybe I will explain that, Laura, and the next question you can ask me after this explanation. Okay. Okay. So yeah, for the multiple submission, because I've heard also that. So also it is allowed, so you can submit more than one proposals. Okay, but they have to always go. Well, have to be dedicated to different industry challenges. Okay, so there is limit of maximum of one application per industry challenge. And if we detect more, so if it's the same person applying to the same challenge, then only the last one that was submitted or edited, okay, will be evaluated. Okay, so this is also maybe something that was related to the previous question. And then also another important limit that only if you submit, if there's one AI talent, I don't know, you're a natural person, and you submit proposal to 5 challenges, only one will be founded. Okay, so you will probably pass to the external evaluation phase. So our experts will review your proposal, but only the one with the higher score will be selected. Okay, because one person or one entity can be founded only once in this open call. Okay, so that's also, I hope, clarifies that also the previous question. And I'm not sure if we have something related to this, Laura.
We have a last question for you. They ask if there is any co-finance.
If there is any co-finance. Okay, Susanna, I'm not sure if I understand your question. I don't know, maybe if you can write in details the co-finance, you mean that if you can, I don't understand the question, I'm sorry. If you can develop the word co-finance or explain it a little bit more in the chat box, then maybe we can, I can reply it in the next round.
Okay, perfect. So then we may continue and I'll wait for the clarification.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Laura. So yeah, I mean, all the questions that were not asked, we have another Q&A after this. Okay, so we'll try then to answer all of them. Okay, now we are trying also to make it match to the presentation, and in the end, yeah, we'll try to answer all of your doubts. But also for those of you that would like to know how to write the winning proposal, just a few tips, or actually I wanted to pass for the evaluation, for the application form and for the scored sections, because as you know, there is this excellence, impact and implementation, and these are the one based on which the experts will score your proposals. Okay, so I wanted to tell you a bit more about each one and how you can maybe improve when you're writing the application. So in excellence, the 3 main points is to show actually your ambition. So why have you decided to select this challenge? So is it because you know the industry, you know the sector, or is it because you have some previous experience, or is it because you're passionate? I don't know, but here you have to actually explain your ambition. Okay, so there might be various reasons why you're selecting this one. Then for the innovation, you should include to what extent you will be able to develop this solution by applying the tools and services. So of course, here you should try, well, we invite you to join the Open Day Week next week, and also to review the description of the Bonesize marketplace that has been published this week. So you can actually try to make a reference as much as you can, okay, to the Bonesize marketplace. Or if you would like to suggest your AI model or your way on how you will develop this solution, you're also more than welcome to include it in this section, in the innovation. And then this is also related to the soundness of approach. So how you will contribute to solving this challenge. Basically, if, I don't know, if you're a researcher, for instance, and you have already worked with something similar, or you have some new ideas how it could be solved, then you're also more than welcome to include it in the excellence section. Then in impact is more related on the bigger view of the solution and its future, I would say. So first, there's a question about market opportunity and competition. So here, yeah, how you see that it can solve the problem, okay, for the specific market or customer group. So here, if you have any idea, you have to show actually that you understand the challenge and how it can actually impact the market. And also on the next point, if you have capability to reach the end user or the clients, if you have any contacts, this is also a strong point, okay, for the application. If we know that actually the solution that that you develop can actually reach directly someone that can adopt it, this is a strong point. So that is why when we were talking about the challenges, I mentioned that this is that we have not predefined the adopter of the solution. So if you have one or you know one and you have contacts in this ecosystem, this is a strong added value. And also, if you're, for instance, a researcher or you're a team and you plan to create SME or spin-off after completing the program, this is also a plus. So you're more than welcome to mention that. European dimension, I believe, well, this is one of the most difficult ones, I would say, but we have to remember that, well, Bonesize aims to lower the barrier for SMEs, okay, to low-tech SMEs on the European level. So if you have any idea on how actually you can reference to that, how this solution that you'll work on will actually contribute to the low-tech sectors and how it can reach SMEs. On top of that, there is also the open question for that idea. And also other impacts that are additional ones, like social, economic, and environmental. That is also always a plus, and yeah, related also to European vision of the projects that are funded. And then implementation, which I would say is the most important one, because here is where you have to describe your skills. And as you remember, I told you that the skills are the key actually for the selections. So you have to prove that your team or that you, because it can be also one person, has data scientists and AI development skills that are the must. If you have any project management skills of managing the development of such a project or leading the team, everything like this also counts as the additional point. So basically, you will be asked to describe your profile, your previous experiences, your years of experience, education, and also your technical background. So your programming language skills, data engineering skills, what algorithms you know, if you have any knowledge of the deep learning, or if you have experience with embedded system platforms. So all of this counts. But as I mentioned, the key is to have the data scientist and AI developer skills. And also we asked you there for the gender balance, also just to mention, because sometimes people think that gender balance is to have more female members, and it's actually 50-50. Okay, so this is also, I mean, you don't have the influence on that, but just to let you know how we'll evaluate that. Okay, the balance team is 50-50. And that's for the tips. I hope that this will help you to create a better application. And now I believe we still have time for the Q&A. So Laura, please bring on all the questions that we were unable to address during the session.
Okay, thank you, Isabella. So for the question about co-finance, we have a clarification. The participant says, is there any obligation to cover a specific percentage of the budget of the project from the applicant side?
Okay, no, I understand the question, because sometimes we say, so no, I mean, is this, you get the 70,000? Okay, the only obligation is that you have to cover from that money HPC cloud providers. Okay, but this is, this is the money that you get for the development. So we do not expect you to bring to co-finance this. No, but of course, if you exceed the grant, then of course it has to be covered from the AI talent resources, right? But as general, you will work on this individual use case plan to actually be able to foresee all the spendings. Okay, so you can actually also dedicate the spendings or redistribute them during the 5 months. Okay, so the grants, we will try to help you also to adjust the budget to avoid the additional costs, any additional costs from the talent side. So no, there's no co-financing required.
Okay, thank you, Isabella. We have another question. So the participant says, I have identified an industry problem when I am developing a solution as a SME, and we have made good progress. Our identified problem is in the health category, but the closest challenge from the technical perspective among Bonesize challenges is not in health category. Can I enter under this other category since I have good experience with this technical challenge? We can also say that solving this challenge helps us solve another problem in the health industry.
Yes, so there are two answers, I would say, to that. So the first one is that, yes, you can enter another challenge by saying, well, and justify that it could actually bring also the beneficiary, that can bring the good things for another sector. Okay, so this is okay. And actually, I'm always saying, because many people wanted to apply with their own solution, or you are working on some different solutions, and the scope here is quite limited, but I'm always saying that if you have skills based on that work that you are doing now, you can bring these skills to actually solve another challenge that we have predefined here. Okay, so it does not eliminate you. And another thing would be to apply with, well, to apply in the second open call as well, to define the challenge, okay? And then you can actually bring your solution directly to the sector or to the challenge that will be defined. Okay, so yes, I think you can apply in the first open call by solving the challenge or from the technical side, but also saying that it could be applied to another sector. Or you can apply in the second open call with already the sector and challenge that you suggest, and then bring your solution. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
So thank you, Isabella. We have a last question. I think this one is for Miguel. So when target platforms are specified for each challenge, for example, Bonesize developer platforms, NVIDIA Jetson AGX Jetpack 4.6.1, TensorRT 8.0.1, the deployment for all of those platforms is required, or is it referring to one of them?
Thank you. So usually it is specified in the challenge what platform is the aim to deploy on. We have the tools to deploy once you have a model in PyTorch or in TensorFlow. We have the tools to convert this model to ONNX, which can be executed by ONNX runtime and also by TensorRT. So I would say that once you have the model trained, it is straightforward to deploy on either Raspberry Pi or NVIDIA Jetson Nano. And here at the moment for the NVIDIA Jetson, we have a Jetpack 4.4. We are at the moment upgrading to 4.5 and also testing 4.6. So I'm not sure yet at the moment of the support program which one will be used, what Jetpack. But basically the first stage will be what we aim to do is to deploy on these two platforms, and then on the second stage, depending on the challenge, we may go for more optimized solution on a low power platform like the ST or the CAP8. But that's depending on the challenge. So read the challenge, and then once you're selected or not, also maybe there will be some discussion about the specific requirements that will be asked.
Thank you, Miguel. So we have no more questions.
Yes, so I think we answered all the questions, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So yes, in case, thank you very much for active participation, and I hope that that our answers solved most of your doubts. So you're now ready to submit the application. In case there are still doubts, so again, we have the help desk space where you can share them in public. Again, you can always write us a message, or you can check our supportive documents, especially frequently asked questions, because this is where it's really updated. So probably the next release, we'll try to have it ready for tomorrow or Monday, okay, including the questions from the webinar. And I wanted also to pay your attention that we have published also this Bonesize Marketplace beta release notes, which I think is very good document to actually also see better what is planned behind, and also what Miguel presented today. And also, well, we have the sub-grant agreement draft. So again, it's draft, but you can at least see the basic what will be signed. Okay, so for those selected AI talents, will sign the sub-grant agreement. So there are also some rules about how funding will be redistributed. I mean, it's a legal document, so of course it has a legal language. That's why, but we provide it for your reference in case you would like to see how it looks like. Okay, so there are no surprises once you get selected. And also, well, guide for applicants is must read. So I guess all of you had a chance to check that before today. And yeah, don't forget to apply. The 2nd November, 5 p.m. is the deadline. And good luck to all of you. Thank you very much for today. And we'll send, of course, the slides and the video afterwards. Probably tomorrow on Monday, you can expect an email that will be sent to participants, and also we'll publish the materials on the Open Call website. So thank you very much, and good luck with your application.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.